Hey folks, I'm going to offer you some material here to review for our midterm exam, which is next week, next class period that we have in class, next Thursday. I'm going to go over the format of it a little bit, and then I'll discuss what all is covered by it. Okay. Although, I'll cover I'll go over what's covered on the exam now. I guess it is everything we've read all the way up through the coming online lecture that I should post this weekend. Okay, so we're going to get through some more modernist poetry. We're going to get through HD and a couple of other selections, but it's any reading that was required to be done prior to next Thursday when the midterm exam is scheduled. Okay, so that should cover everything. I'll go through some of the other aspects of what to study for as I go through these parts. So it's a 3-part exam. You have the full time period. By the way, if you have accommodation, please send me an email, if you could, at your earliest convenience to my Yahoo account, and we can talk about accommodation for those of you who have that on file, and I will be happy to make some arrangements with you if need be to make sure you do your best, because I want everybody to do their best. Okay, so there are 3 parts to the exam. The first part is an identification section. Going to give you 8 terms, just 8. And these terms will be, terms, names, concepts, maybe characters, could be any number of different things. If I might give you a character like LaRue, or I might give you a concept like sentimental seduction novel, or I might give you, a historical fact that we covered in class. That would be a prominent one. It wouldn't be something that's obscure. Okay, I promise you that. It might be, might be something like imagism or modernism or realism or any of those kinds of things. Or it could be, like I said, it could be characters, or it could be places in some of the texts. Okay, but if it's covered in the class discussion, and we covered a lot, if it's covered in my online lectures, then it's fair game for an identification. Now, here's the good thing. You only have to identify 6 of those 8, so you can just take a pass on a couple of them. I will grade the first 6 that you answer. So if you answer all 8 of them, I'm just going to stop at 6, okay? I don't want you answering all 8 of them. If you start an answer and you don't want to count that one, just draw a line through it or put omit by it. That's fine. But I'm going to grade the first 6 that I see that you clearly attempted to answer. How do you answer these? Well, the full answer would include both identifying the item, like where it comes from, like the author, the name of the text that it's from, or whether it was an example from a class discussion. Fully identify it, right? Something like LaRue would be, this is a character in Rosson's Charlotte Temple. She is the French teacher that leads Charlotte down the wrong path. She is offered as an example of the kind of person not to associate with. That's a great answer because you identified it, and look at the second part that you have to do, explain its significance. That's very important. You're going to get 2 out of 5 points for identifying it. 3 out of the 5 points come from explaining its significance. Why is it important? But each one of these is worth 5 points, total of 30 points. Okay, you do 6 out of 8. Make sure the answer is full and complete. Fully identify it. Fully explain the significance of it. You can do it in probably 2 sentences apiece if you're economical. Okay? Now the second part is the explication part. And what I'm going to do is give you 2 fairly obvious passages from fairly significant passages from some of the works that we had. In this case, you're going to do the same thing, only you're going to expand that. So you're going to tell me where it's from, who's the author, what's the title, and what's going on in this passage. Oh, this is from so-and-so's novel, blank. It's the scene in which this is going on. Okay? So that's the first portion. The second portion is in 3 or 4 more sentences or so. Tell me why it's significant, why the passage is important to the work, to the theme of the work. What does it convey? Why did we sort of single it out and talk about it? And you'll get, by the way, you'll get 2 of those and you pick 1. Okay? Don't answer both. Please don't. You won't have enough time to do all this if you don't read the instructions carefully. So part 1, you get 8, choose only 6. Part 2, you get 2, choose only 1. Okay? So that's worth 20 points. So 30 points, 20 points. Then the last one is the essay question, and it is worth 50 points. Okay? Now, before you start saying, this is a lot, guess what? I'm going to give you those 3 questions down below here. You can see them right on your screen. Those 3 questions are there for you. 2 of these 3 will be on the exam. 2 of these 3 will be on the exam. And of those 2, you will choose 1. So here's 3. When you get in the exam, you're going to see 2. Of those 2, you're going to choose 1. And guess what? It's not open book and open note, but I will allow you to bring in a 50-word max. 50 is all, right? Do not pre-write these, okay? 50 words max outline for each of these 3, as long as you turn it in with your exam. You'll turn it in. I'll tell you how to do that in class, okay? So right now you see the 3 possible essay exam topics in front of you. Okay, and you can prep a 50-word outline for each of those 3. Then you'll get into class and you'll see 2 of those 3. You'll throw one outline aside, and then you'll decide which of the 2 that you want, and you'll use your outline for that one ready to go to write it. Okay, so it's a little easier than you think. It's very important for you to be able to budget your time. You should be able to do part 1 in probably 15 minutes or so. Should be able to do part 2 in about 20 minutes or so. That's 35. Should be able to do the balance of the essay question in about 40 or 45 minutes. Okay, that's how I would budget your time. Okay, I would budget my time accordingly. Do not run through the first 2 sections and focus everything on the last section, because even though it's worth 50 points, it's only 50% of the value of the exam. And if you spend 85% of your time on 50% of the points, that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So, you know, I'll keep track of what the time is. I'll let you know what the time is on the board. I'm not going to shout it out, but I'll put it up there and say, okay, there's like 40 minutes left. There's 30 minutes left, 20, 10, 5. When we get down to about 5, I probably will tell you that it's 5 minutes still. Okay. We have a class after hours, so we can't take too much longer. So we got to end on time, but it is an 80-minute class. Okay. And so if you budget 15 minutes for the first section, 20 minutes for the second section, you should be able to do 45 minutes and do just fine on an essay that you've seen before and that you've got an outline for. Okay. So let's talk about that. And by the way, to do well on the essay portion, I want you to be able to use specific examples from the texts. You don't have to quote because you don't have the text in front of you, but you need to give specific examples like, in this scene, this character does this. In this text, the author writes this. Okay? Not a direct quote, but the idea is it needs to be specific enough so that that you're defending your idea. It needs to be a fairly quick but well-organized essay. You don't have time for like a 10 paragraph. You don't have time for that. Just directly jump in. Write the thing. Don't write a flowery introduction. You don't have time for that. Just get straight to what your thesis is and then prove the thesis. Okay? So here are your 3 topic choices. Choosing 2 of our readings so far. Analyze how authors tried to shape the norms or attitudes of their readers. So taking 2 texts that the author tried to change attitudes or ideas or social norms, right? Find a couple of them. There's plenty. These norms or attitudes could be moral, political, social, economic. Did the authors differ in their approaches? Were they similar? Okay. So you could choose any 2 you want to from different time periods, different genres. One could be a poem. The other one could be a novel. One could be nonfiction. One could be a short story. It doesn't matter. But choose 2 that tried to shape the norms and attitudes of the reader. Now, sometimes authors don't try to shape attitudes of readers. They just present them with stuff and let the reader do what they want to. Maybe it's pure entertainment. But sometimes they have a point. They're trying to make a change in the reader's attitude. You're looking for 2 texts that do that. How are they similar? How are they different? Okay. You could go with all. Why are they similar? You could go with why they're different, right? It's up to you. Just shape that. Second question. Choosing 2 of our readings so far, discuss how and why the authors of those works chose to confront the young, predominantly female readership with the harsher facts or realities of life. So in more than one text, we see that, you know, we have an author who's addressing younger readers, okay? More than one, okay, does that. Sometimes they're predominantly female, sometimes they're not, okay? But we do have that. They're trying to present them with harsh facts or realities of life. What are those realities, and why did the authors feel it was so important to present those to the readers, okay? So more than one of our writers was addressing readers with harsh facts of reality of life. Usually these were younger readers, or they were trying to reach younger readers in some way. Frequently these were female readers. What were those harsh realities, and why did they feel it was so important to present those and discuss those with the reader? Okay. And then the third one is, in an extended analysis of one work, you get to choose one work, argue for the relevance of that work's message or themes for modern readers. All these texts so far were written for an earlier generation. All of them were at least 100 years old so far, I think. Pretty close, okay? You know, are their messages, are their themes still relevant today? If so, in what ways and how? Okay, so that there you're just going to take one. It could be a short story, it could be a poem, it could be nonfiction, it could be a novel, whatever you want to do. What is the here's a bit of a tidbit. What I would do is I would try to budget your time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, 45 minutes for the essay. Always give yourself a few minutes just to quickly proofread your material. Give yourself maybe a couple of minutes to do that if you can do it. And when you're done with the essay portion, the third portion of it, that is the entire exam, then you're free to go that day. Okay? Now, this weekend I'll try to check my email, Yahoo, and I will try to see if you have some questions. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm going to post the lecture for this week, probably going to be Saturday instead of tonight. Okay, but I'll get that up just as soon as I can. Okay, if you have some questions, you can email me. But here you have it. I'm going to put this, if I can, I'm going to send this to you by email. Okay, as a Word document, just so you got it in front of you, in case you don't want to just keep pausing the YouTube. All right. If you got any questions, you let me know. All right.